You're listening to Opinions and Beer. I prefer mead. You sent me to hell, Jason.
I really just want to make everybody jealous.
I'm a person from Earth.
Listen, what are we talking about?
I reckon it sounds like Opinions and Beer.
You can do it, Dingo.
Oh, I'm good.
You're the smartest dumb guys I've ever met.
You got robot voice for a second there. You all right?
Sometimes my internet really sucks here. I've good old Spectrum, and it can be very shitty. Is it sounding a little bit better now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, what's crazy is we actually have Spectrum here too, but because of like the weird monopoly they have on this area, it's by far the best thing we have. So. Oh, really? Yeah, I have a similar thing in that. Let me turn my video off too, since you guys aren't doing video. That might help. Yeah, we have the same scenario where I was trying to get like Verizon Fios, but that's not in my region, and AT&T's not to get fiber shit. So it's just pretty much fucked. So here I sit, and I even got like the 300 megabyte super thing, and that was dog shit. It didn't fucking do anything, so I dropped it back down. So what was it like actually around? Like what was the roundabout? It was like the same speed as I have now, literally. Like I would test the speed, and it was like your download rate's like 35 megabytes or whatever it was, and your uploads whatever. And then I was like, okay, what the fuck am I paying for? I had you're only at 35. Yeah, because I'm getting like fucking 100 here, and we're in the boonies. So yeah, see, that's awesome. Yeah, I think it's just congestion of I don't know, being in the city center here or something like that. But yeah, it's like I had tech after tech come out here, and it's just worthless. Yeah, that's probably exactly what it is. No. All right, so let's do it up, man. I'm not sure when. I told my wife, I was like, I think I'll be done by 5. So order the food like around 4:45. So I just don't want to have the dogs go nuts if she gets here. But I could probably be good at least until 5:15 though. So we got a good solid 45 minutes in at least. Yeah. As much time as you're willing to give us, we appreciate, man. No, man. I'm glad you reached out.
Yeah,
always good to join other libertarians.
Eamon, he talks highly of you. He says that you're one of his the people that got him into the libertarian movement.
Yeah, nice. Not just that. I mean, like podcasting in general. I've listened to you guys since some of the earliest stuff. I want to say that what originally the way I found y'all was through an advertisement for like Rand pluses and minuses.
Nice, yeah. I still try to do that once in a while, pull out a special episode. Although now I usually do it more for the Pride members that we have on the Patreon side, because we're trying to figure out where to delineate it. I'll do an episode on the regular podcast if there's like just a ton of shit going on. But so now I'll just do little mini episodes here and there with Rand pluses and minuses. But it is fun. I miss the old Rand pluses and minuses theme. Yeah, it was always cool. I mean, just Rand in general has kind of faded out of the light a bit in the libertarian spectrum. So I mean, I haven't even noticed anymore. So
what?
Yeah,
I try my best to keep up.
Really?
He's still being libertarian-y.
Man, so I don't know if you have been paying attention to some of the crazy stuff, but like Nick Sarwark was on our show less than a month ago. And him and another one of the libertarian podcasts, it's the lady with pink hair. I can't ever remember her name. Karen Harlos or something like that. They were talking about, they were ripping on Bill Weld. Yeah, which I don't blame him for, man. I don't know if you've heard our Halloween episodes, but Bill Weld is one of my favorite targets to make fun of. I'm going to ask you to do a fucking Bill Weld impression, dude. Hell yeah. Bill Weld! I've had my face in the freezer for 7 years waiting for my kid to emerge. I had my whiskey in the freezer to keep this jaw lubed up. That's my Bill Weld. That sounds nothing like Bill Weld, of course, but I know, but like it's perfect. That's how we all imagine it anyway. So yeah, he's like a crazy uncle that is actually not even crazy. He's clever in the way that he is clearly an animal that is purely political. I mean, the man worked his way under this false pretense of being the original libertarian, and based upon some things that were laudable back in his time. Was he Massachusetts, I think? And worms his way in as Gary Johnson's VP
only to undermine him. And of course, he only got the VP position through backdoor deals with got a blanket on her name because she left the Libertarian Party now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, God, I'm fucking blanking on her name. I think she went and joined the Federalist Party, which then collapsed on itself, or some other party. But
I think I know who you're talking about too.
Yeah.
I remember because she immediately she had this big following for a while, and then just disappeared, just totally left the party.
Well, what was funny is she came on. So Mark Claire on our Monday show on our podcast, he did a debate between Arvin Vora, Josh Smith, and this gal who I can't remember. It's kind of like, she kind of reminds me though of like the fucking Christchurch shooter, where I don't even want to give her credit. I don't want to mention her name.
Don't even mention her name.
Like she's not worthy of it.
Yeah.
But forget her. Subscribe to PewDiePie.
Yeah. But she literally goes on the show and does this whole debate with these other two who were trying to run for, the chairman of the party. And then the next day, drops out. And I was just like, why did you even come on the show? What was the point of that?
Yeah. I love the debates that you guys hosted. Those were pretty awesome, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to, those will gear back up as we're getting back into it. So we'll see who emerges as candidates. That, we just had Justin Amash on. And he is, I think, seriously flirting with leaving the GOP and declaring that he is the Libertarian, because he was saying he's thinking about it more and more. And, he's becoming farther and farther distance from the GOP. Even the Liberty Caucus, or the Freedom Caucus has become kind of a joke because so many of their members just sell out for neocon horseshit.
Well, I will say this, that I noticed right before the 2016 election, I started hearing more about Justin Amash, and he was one of the only congressmen that I've ever seen who would sit there and he'd write this detailed explanation of why he actually voted a certain way. Whereas everyone else, if they were to put it, they would just put dollar signs, and Justin Amash would explain every single time. And throughout the Liberty Caucus and everything else going on in there, for sure, he's probably one of the only ones that's actually pro-liberty. So
yeah, and I'm with you, man. I love that, those Facebook posts he does detailing, because if nothing else, at least he actually read what he's voting on.
Yeah.
How many times can we say that about virtually anybody in the House or the Senate? None of these people read shit.
No, not all.
Hey, they don't have time to read. They have time to lead.
That's it. They got time to posture. Yeah, AOC's got time to post Twitter feeds and post those cooking videos to her Instagram or whatever.
Oh, God.
Hey, people got to eat.
Yeah, that's what she's like, Mother Teresa, right? She's going out, she's cooking. Although, I want to see that. I like to see her go out and feed some homeless in New York. I guarantee, or DC, I guarantee she's not doing that. She's sitting at home, she's eating her whatever lentils and goat cum that she's making.
Yeah, hey, that's cheap. She's teaching people how to live on a budget.
That's true.
Now, today, goat cum being considered vegan? I mean, is that still...
Wait, what? Vegan?
Yeah, is goat cum still considered vegan?
You can't eat
I don't know. Well, goats eat grass. Grass goes in cum. Cum is then made from grass. So it's vegan.
Yeah.
You can't eat any byproduct of animals when you're vegan.
So
when you're vegetarian, you can, but not vegan.
Well, maybe she should
have just to lick the animal and take whatever nutrients come off of it naturally.
No, you can't even touch... you can love them, I guess. It's kind of weird. There's a weird loophole.
The point is vegans are trying to keep them healthy so they can get the goat cum either way. So I mean, the one way or the other, that's what they're aiming for with these animals.
You can't use vegans can't use animals as any type of nourishment or anything that benefits you. You can only do it if they're overpopulated and your dog kennel and need to kill them all.
What if the goat just has a wet dream and you swoop it?
And it's just there. It's just a byproduct. No, you're not. I guess you're not allowed to.
Even then, that just seems ridiculous. That's just wasteful.
Yeah.
but you have heard of that? How PETA kills more animals than any other group.
PETA is absolute evil, man. It just sickens me. Well, one of the concepts is so prevalent in society throughout just everything, whether it's politics or any aspect of society, is just the sheer ignorance of people who willfully, some of it's willful ignorance and some of it is just people just not wanting to read beyond a simple headline. And that's a concept that people talk about a lot too. But, you have these celebrities posing, saying, "Oh, I'd never wear fur." And it's like, okay, we can all get behind that, but you're not getting behind murdering, 5,000 dogs and cats a year because that's the sick thing is PETA takes all the animals and they take them away from people who might still be helping them, or they take them out of these shelters, then they take them to their own kill shelter immediately, and they kill them faster than other shelters do.
They're putting them out of their misery. They were being milked.
Yeah,
don't you understand? How sickening can you be that you don't respect the animals?
I guess. They really should. They should make a patch that says like I murdered 5,000 dogs, and then fucking put that on their fur coats. Then wear that.
In the meantime, they're killing all these animals, but yet they'll put out reading books talking about how eating fish is murder, and talking about a whole family of fish, and painting this horrible picture of the atrocities you're committing against fish kind as they are just putting animals down left and right. Yeah, it's just a organization.
Yeah, fish are very cognitive creatures, so.
Yeah.
I just interviewed a vegan, and she asked me if are you vegan? I'm like, well, I would be, but PETA won't stop sending me spam. Ever since I went to that fucking Warped Tour, all the punk rockers are the punk rockers are vegan now, and then they steal your information. They send you fucking spam.
Yeah, the irony of getting spam from PETA is delicious.
I just thought about that. That's funny.
Yeah. I'm not surprised to hear that, though. It's that a lot of the more, I guess a lot of the alternative bands I hear, they're like super progressive. And yeah, I'm not surprised that a lot of them are vegan. I think a lot of that's guilt-based, though, not guilt from eating animals, but more the guilt of like, when you're really hungover, when you've been partying way too hard your whole life, you get that like Saturday morning, you wake up, or Sunday morning, and you're like, God damn it, man, I just want like a salad. That's them, but forever now. Because they blow their assholes like doing coke and drinking so much. It's just salad all the time for me. It's not a life choice like they give a shit about the animal. It's just like, I need salad because I need to even out all the heroin that's in my body.
Or else I'll die.
You won't be able to see this picture, but I'm going to try to let Eamon describe the photo that PETA sent me.
Oh, what the fuck is this?
It's a...
Okay, do you want me to read what they're saying, too?
Yeah, just go ahead and...
Okay, it says cows, pigs, goats, sheep, and even dogs and cats are killed so their skin can be used as leather. Animals are not clothing. Take action. It's a picture of this naked lady, and someone's ripping off the skin of her ass. It says, urge Levi's and other brands to stop selling.
Is it really like gruesome? Like, is it like blood and gore and fibers?
Yeah, there's definitely some.
There's like blood. It's like
blood. It looks like it's a little thing. It's like they wanted to get the point across.
Was this an email?
No, they won't stop fucking texting me, and they say, "Oh,
yeah, this is a text message."
Dude, I get hundreds of them, dude. I get hundreds.
You should just report that as like, forward it along to the FCC or something like that, and be like, "I'm getting unsolicited pornography."
Yeah, there you go, dude.
And they'll say, text stop to stop getting these messages, and I do, and they keep sending them.
Like, stop. That's what the animals would say if they could.
Right? Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, you're telling me to stop animal abuse. I'm with you. Here's twice as many spam emails.
Look, this one says, Animal Adventure Park are breeding giraffes. Stop them now. Because I guess they're force breeding.
They're force breeding them?
How can you force breed a giraffe? That seems like a very difficult task. Like, even if we could force breed animals, we'd be force breeding pandas, which are too fucking retarded to fuck on their own. So, the way to do it, I'm sure they would be basement giraffes. They'd be inbred.
Oh man, this is pretty good. Dude, so
oh, by the way, real quick, before you get into a different topic, I did want to ask you, what were your impressions of talking with Nick? Because I apologize, I wanted to listen to that interview before I came on, but I just got too bogged down.
Hey, man, people are busy. We understand, dude. No, it was actually it went really well. One of the things that I wanted to focus with him is kind of this disconnect between most like full-blown anarchists that kind of flirt around with the party, but have completely taken their feet away from it. They're not even dipping their toes. I wanted to see what his opinions were on those people and how to kind of bring them back into the party, and how kind of like left-leaning people like socialists are kind of being more drawn towards libertarianism. The weird thing that is bringing them in, etc. What's some other things?
What it's interesting because I'm more or less under the impression that Nick Sarwark has absolutely zero interest in bringing in people that are on the more anarchy side of the libertarian spectrum. It seems like
that's exactly how he answered it. He said that he said, no, man, what essentially like people that have taken their ball and went home essentially like there's no point in even trying to go after those people, which
pisses me off. Not that I want to make this whole episode into me bitching about Nick Sarwark, but see that does piss me off. Like the reason these people have left the party and walked away so much, and I myself have gotten far more towards the anarcho-capitalism side of things more than I used to be a little bit more of a minarchist, but people are leaving because of the leftward slant that he has taken and his leadership in the party, reaching out to these left liberals and appealing to more of the progressive side of things. And so it's not that they don't want a part. I mean, the fact that the Mises Caucus is rising up and you've got anarchists like Mance Raider and you've got Dave Smith and you've got Tom Woods join. The fact that these people are joining in means that not everybody's taken the ball and gone home. In fact, if anything, some of the most predominant leaders, and even Mark Claire on our podcast is also an anarcho-capitalist.
Yeah,
these people joined to try to change it back and pull it back to the original foundation principles, rather than trying to pull in these leftists who are just going to, it's like almost what happened to the ACLU, where you had people that were based upon solid principles of liberty and free speech, and then it's now become a bastard leftist organization, and that's where there, but for the grace of God, goes the Libertarian Party.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right on that.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, sorry, you can get back to the regular.
Right.
No,
let's talk about whatever you want to talk about.
I have nothing on my mind. I'm a blank slate. So whatever you got.
It's kind of weird, I guess, reaching out to
somebody on the
leftist. Well, I don't know. I'm probably going to come off as biased. Obviously, we're from Southeast Texas, so I have a little bit more of a right-leaning bias when it comes to certain things, I guess.
Yeah.
But I've always found that the right-leaning people, they tend to be just more very stubborn and stuck in their traditional ways. They just they see a certain way of things, of doing things. They want to stick that way.
Mm-hmm.
Or the left, they tend to be a bit more open, but to the point where they will ruin whatever they're doing, move on to something that's better, and then ruin that.
See, I have the opposite of feeling. In truth, from my experience, I'll grant you, I do agree that people that are right-leaning tend to be a little more stubborn in certain aspects. But what I found is, talking, because I live in LA, so like everybody here for the most part is crazy progressive. But I found that progressives are, if anything, more stubborn in the way they look at the world. And the only way I can crack through in a lot of ways, talking about libertarianism, and I just recently had a breakthrough with a buddy of mine, shocking, who just, I tried a million times to talk to the guy, and I finally got through to him, talking about the welfare state and talking about poverty rates and talking about just the amount of investment that's been made.
How did you get through to him?
I'll tell you, the way I finally got through was just pointing out the fact that, we've got education. The amount of spending in education is higher than any other country. And the fact that we've got higher spending than any other country in regards to welfare and all these programs, but the poverty rate stays the exact same. Our education system is, near the bottom 50% of the world, despite all this investment. So just making the point to him, like, say, look, man, it's not necessarily that I might have the perfect answer. I'm not saying that my end-all be-all answer is the correct one, but my point is, we've tried your answer and it does not work, and we're seeing that play out over several decades now. So isn't it time to at least ask the question if there's a time to try something different, and why are we so afraid of doing that? And that's when he said, I agree, you're right, there's no point in doing the same thing over again, and it's not getting results, so I agree with you, it's time to try something else. And
AOC.
It's
AOC 2020, $3,000 a month a household. Is that what you said?
I said,
is that what you said? Or is it $5,000? It's like between $3,000 and $5,000 a household, I think, that we would be, that every household.
Would that even support a household in LA?
No, sorry, what's the say again?
I said, would that even support a household in LA?
No. But dude, AOC, man, she is so stupid. I I really struggle with how dumb she is. You know, it's a woman who has 2 degrees, and you look at her economic knowledge from, I think, Boston University. If you're that college, I don't know what, I mean, I would be torn between, okay, do we promote this woman because she's an alumni or alumnus of our university, or do we just downplay that because everything she knows about economics is fundamentally flawed and completely incorrect on a
Yeah, it's just broken entirely.
Just
Yeah, trying to discuss anything with a full-blown socialist.
You can't say that.
Really hard.
You're a man. You can't say that about a woman.
I'm going to mansplain to AOC how the third rail system works in the subway, and she's going to be like, you can't tell me how to live, and then she'll go grab the third rail, and we'll be done with it. That's how you outthink her.
No.
But yeah, man, just getting back to that main concept you brought up, though, of just, you know, people being kind of intractable. So I just find that in general, though, I have a harder time breaking through the left because the emotional connection that they have with the issues is so embedded that it's hard for them to separate it. So anytime you try to talk to them about something that they base their whole social media profile around, you know, touting this certain socialist aspect or progressive aspect, if you attack that, they immediately have a rejection of that based on their ego can't take it. It has almost nothing to do with anything having to do with the actual principles or the logic behind it, but they can't accept it because it means that they were wrong. And if they were wrong, it means that, you know, everything they've ever stood for and who they are as a person is wrong.
That's a good point, too. Like, what would you say that, like, social media and Facebook and stuff like that has played in this kind of identity politics that people are forcing themselves into? Like, it feels like they've not only is there like echo chambers, but it feels like kind of like how you said, they're basing their entire profile on it. So, you know, years later they look back and it's that same profile, you know, they don't want to change anything.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, immensely. It's got a huge impact because you think about, you know, people, we live in this culture now where it's instant likes, you know, people validate their opinions based upon how much interaction they have on that opinion on social media, which is a dangerous way to think because the only people that are going to support that point of view are clearly people that already agree with it. And, you know, we see the flame wars.
Unless there is a way to change people's point of view, and that's with, you know, the casual Russian meme every now and then.
Yeah, exactly right. But I mean, I talked about this. We did like a drinking podcast recently. Talk about return on investment. For those Russians, man, they spent what, $100,000 and somehow
the best advertising campaign ever, right?
Genius. They should be talking at Stanford. They should be giving master classes and TED Talks on how to reach people because clearly they're fucking geniuses.
I mean, the problem is they won't show their faces because wasn't it actually like the CIA? Are we going to get into some?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I number one, I would definitely believe that. And number two, I know the CIA's got their social media strategy they're already rolling out to, I think, for Iranians. So, you know, I wouldn't surprise me in any way if they were completely involved. I'm no fan, or I'm no opponent to conspiracy theory.
Iranians? I kind of want to hear more.
I read something recently about this, and I was a few weeks ago. So, like, you know, like on my show, I blow through so many topics that it's hard for me to remember what I was talking about in exact specifics now that once I move on for a few weeks. But it was essentially that the CIA had put together their plan for how they're going to undermine and try to, you know, gun up a whole lot of anti-Iranian regime support, you know, overthrow the Ayatollah and all that other shit. And so, or not the Ayatollah, but overthrow the, God, I'm fucking blanking on his name, the ultimate religious leader there.
Yeah, that guy. No, we know what you mean.
That dude. I can't think of his
name.
name.
Sure our listeners are, yeah, they're super knowledgeable about Iranian leaders and beers. So
aren't we all? We all got the Encyclopedia Britannicas of Iranian leaders.
Right.
Does that still exist? They must, right, on some level. Anyway, I just remember those fucking ads growing up. Encyclopedia Britannica brought to your door.
So yeah, my dad still has like 2 sets of them at least.
Oh, really? That's
like,
awesome. Yeah, that's
books.
awesome.
That's like 50 or 60 books or something. Like, it's
that's
crazy.
What you got. Those are like the perfect books to get. If you had a den and you're like, I just need to fill this shit with some books that look nice. That was your Encyclopedia Britannica. But no, so the CIA, they basically just had this strategy they'll put together. Said they were going to run out. They're going to do the exact same thing the Russians did. They're going to buy Facebook ads. They're going to buy ads on Twitter that try to undermine the Iranian regime and try to get people to rise up and revolt against the religious system. And
The Illuminati.
And it's the exact fucking thing that the Russians did, but we're doing it, but because we're doing it because that's an evil government, quote unquote. It's perfectly fine.
Tell them about Boba Flex and the Canadian Illuminati.
What? Boba Flex.
Canadian Illuminati? Tell me more.
Tell them who the main.
Are they called the Illuminati?
No, the number one. The people that actually run the Canadian Illuminati are Nickelback, and they had a strong they had a stronghold on America for a while, but it looks like people don't even know who they are anymore.
Yeah, I believe that fully because how the fuck did Nickelback pay? What did they play, like the Super Bowl or like the Thanksgiving Day game a couple of years ago? It's mind-boggling.
At the Lions,
they did see this
at the Lions Stadium,
up like this.
That's because Detroit Lions, they couldn't get anyone else. Nickelback.
Everybody else, well, but a shocking Nickelback would go because you figure Detroit now is just towards the DC, it's like gun violence, and you're gonna get raped when you go there. So I'm surprised anybody went there. I would expect it only maybe Henry Rollins. He'd be like, "Fuck it, I'll be raping them."
yeah. Nickelback was like going up there, and they're like, "Wait a second, we'll get raped if we go there. We're in."
I was gonna try to sing a Nickelback song, but I don't think I know a single fucking one. Eyes Wide Open, is that Nickelback or is that Creed?
No, we'll let you. Yeah,
that's
go
Creed.
Go ahead. No,
Eyes Wide Open. I know for some reason I think of Nickelback when I hear that song.
My name's Chad Kroger.
It's the same era.
Yeah, right.
It's all dad rock.
Same sad era of 90s rock, which, I listened to 90s rock on my Sirius XM, and the shit they play, I'm like, I remember these songs being great, but I think that's just, they're whitewashing the shitty shit that was prevalent.
Yeah.
I asked
the shit, they fucking cleaned it up, period.
I interviewed a model, and I asked her about her favorite Nickelback song, and she's like, I don't know, and then she started singing Matchbox 20. I was like, no, that's not Nickelback.
Did you interview her with no video like we're doing? Because that seems like a mistake. If so,
yeah, I did on it. Yeah, I did. It was.
I mean, you should have your video off, but have her video on. That's
I think they did it on like a last minute on a phone, like in a cafe somewhere. So I don't think they.
So how did the interview with the model go? Was it like talking to Derek Zoolander, or was she?
No, she's a little bit smart. She's like. I guess she has like a really good. She has like a really good manager, I guess, that's getting her like fast big gigs, like because she's breaking into acting right now, and her she was just in a movie that came out today. What's today? Saturday? Friday? Sunday? Moondog.
Moondog.
Oh, hold on. Wait, sorry. I lost you guys for a second there. I just saw the Beach Bum, so I heard Moondog.
Yes.
Yeah. Moondog.
She's in that, and she's gonna be in Bad Boys 3.
Yeah.
Do you remember which character she was?
Oh yeah, she had a
snake or something.
No, that scene was cut. That scene was cut. She was actually in like 4 scenes, but they cut a few of them. But I think the one she's in, she's topless on the.
I'm a fan of that. On the yacht? I definitely saw her there.
Yes, the yacht. The yacht scene.
Weird, I noticed her being topless on a boat as a man.
Because
as a man of streetness.
Of all the things.
But she was originally supposed to be a bigger role, but I guess they because all the scenes looked awkward because like there's a snake scene and she couldn't like film with the snake because it scared her and they could tell, so they cut that scene.
I mean, but that's pretty cool that you just talked to her.
Yeah.
I mean, and Brian's already seen that movie.
Yeah.
And it was a great movie, man. I highly recommend it. Actually, I wouldn't say a great movie. It was a very good movie. I liked it. It's a little long-winded in that it's like kind of it hits on one note, although at least it has 3 acts. But it's interesting in that for me as a guy who likes to drink and likes to have a good old time, but also as a guy, with a lot of different interests, with something to say, obviously, and also because I do a writing and all this other shit. It's interesting because it's kind of like an expression of artistic excess and how excess can lead to expression, but and how people are individuals, and like you run into these arbitrary walls that are put in front of you, and sometimes you just gotta say fuck it, man, and that's how you come through with your best shit. So it was cool. I liked the movie a lot.
I'm weary about seeing it only because I didn't like his last movie. That much.
Matthew McConaughey?
No, not Matthew McConaughey.
Harmony Klein. Okay. This is the first time I saw a Harmony Klein movie. So, or Crin, I don't know.
Yeah, Harmony. Yeah, he made that Spring Breakers movie, and it was kind of just artistic garbage. Like it was.
Yeah, that's what my buddies were saying. They liked it, but they said it was very kind of just like weird, and yeah, it wasn't like the beach bum was very lighthearted, and at least it had a kind of a plot you could follow. But I also haven't seen Gummo or Trash Humpers, with I guess like a movie about old people dressed as old people. Fucking
You haven't seen a movie called Trash Humpers? Come on, man.
I know.
Get on it. No, I haven't seen it either, but I didn't know about it. So,
but yeah, apparently she just got casted in Bad Boys 3, so she's gonna be the new Bad Boys as well. So
Martin Lawrence Martin was also in the Beach Bum. Maybe that's how she got cast in Bad Boys 3. Maybe she banged Martin.
Yeah, he noticed her on the yacht too.
Yeah, again, a man with fine eyes.
That's funny.
But that's very cool.
Yeah, dude. So, one of the topics that we usually bring up at the beginning of the episodes is we usually ask people, where they got their start, how they got to where they were. Would you kind of, in your own words, want to describe how you got into like PR, comedy, and podcast?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, I grew up in Philly, or outside of Philly, I should say, in Bucks County. And so, I went to Penn State for college. That's where I met a lot of the guys from the Lions of Liberty podcast, or all of the guys actually from the Lions of Liberty podcast. All went to Penn State. We were in a fraternity there called Phi Kappa Tau, which interesting because you wouldn't necessarily presume that a bunch of guys at a fraternity would become libertarians. But anyway, so we moved out.
A lot of authoritarianism in that philosophy.
Yeah. But we moved out to Los Angeles to be a writer. It's what I've always wanted to do. Had a lot of trouble just getting into the industry, and it's just brutal unless you know somebody, which I didn't. So I kind of fell ass backwards. Was that
when you say writing, what do you mean by that? Were you
comedy writing primarily? Screenplays, screenwriting. So either writing features or sitcoms, kind of thing like that.
Cool.
Doing that. I just finished a feature script with a buddy of mine, so we're sending that out to agents and managers, getting feedback and all that good jazz. So it's taken a lot of time to get around to the writing. I was an English major, so writing was at the core, and I knew that's I guess it's what I've always quote unquote wanted to do, but at the same time, it's one of those odd things where I enjoy it, but I don't think a person necessarily has had a specific calling in my life. So I kind of fall into things more than seek them out, I guess, in a lot of ways. But
yeah, I didn't know that about you. I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt for sure. But
no. Please interrupt that, Will, because I'll just keep spraying work.
No,
but yeah, no, I don't know. It's one of those things where I just it's gonna sound kind of funky to say, but I've had a lot of ease in whatever I've tried to pursue has come fairly easily. Just pretty smart guy, able to pick shit up quickly. So it's not like anything drove me to the point where I was just like obsessed with it, because everything kind of was a little easy.
It's like that privilege thing that you have.
Yes, exactly. A lot of white privilege. Don't even buy Oreo cookies that are the black and white. Only the vanilla Oreos. Was very happy when it came out. But yeah, man. So I moved out to LA, fell backwards into PR because that was a job I could get. I was an assistant. Quickly kind of moved up. Oddly enough, due to my personality being abrasive, because my boss was an asshole, and he had gone through a lot of assistants who were just, I guess, of a temperament. They were too much little bitches. So being an abrasive man who wouldn't take shit actually played well with him. So he liked me and moved up, got a job as a publicist, and then parlayed that into a different job wherein I'm still at the same company and been doing that for 10, 12 years. So yeah, going now. And then in the meantime, still working at writing. I do stand-up comedy on the side too, just as a hobby, and got into the libertarian world because my buddy Mark, I moved out here. He moved out maybe 3 years after I did, right at the height of Ron Paul in 2008. Yeah. And we just became enamored with him. And we went around stumping, knocking on doors, trying to convince people and change their mind.
Yeah, how was being a Ron Paul supporter in LA? I don't understand how y'all are full-blown libertarians in such a place. It's so anti-freedom.
A lot of libertarians are very anti acceptance of thought in general. So I think there's a little bit of being anti-establishment, not in so far necessarily as always the establishment as the way you think of it, but also just established thought patterns and the way people thinking. So libertarianism presenting a different option wherein you could engage it from a perspective of diving deeper into it, seeing the way that it would interact with the world and how things break down and how you can look at it from a different perspective was very attractive to me.
You want to be edgy.
Well, not so much that, but just it's something. If you got something different,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like we've had fucking Democrats and Republicans and the same bullshit theories of thought for so long that it's very attractive to have something that is different and interesting, which can be applied. Like the Green Party, they've got their point of view and it's different, but it's also fucking stupid and it doesn't make economic sense. So when you've got libertarianism and the way it applies to freedom and economics and everything else that you can take it to and look at how it would interact when you drop that fucking, that dye drop into the water and see it spread out and interact with anything, it's really intellectually stimulating.
Yeah, for sure.
So that kind of got me into it. And then, in regards to being a libertarian in LA, going around door to door for Ron Paul, that was frustrating as fuck because, it was like people would know about him. They would have heard about him. They liked him. And the people I talked to, they said, yeah, I love Ron Paul, but I'm not going to change my party to vote for him. Or they would say, but he's not going to win, which was frustrating because, my response was, well, he might win if everybody that said he's not going to win just actually voted for him.
Yeah.
But, that's people. The one thing that really was a truth that became very powerfully embedded in my mind is that people don't really give a shit about their own personal moral values in their hearts for the most part when they come to voting. Although we did see that with Trump. We saw the polling results where Trump was supposed to get blown out and then he ended up winning, which I suspected was going to happen because a lot of people agreed with what he was saying in their heart of hearts. But he happened to be on the GOP ticket, which made it more palatable than a Ron Paul trying to upset somebody coming out of nowhere. But people just saying, I won't vote for him because he won't win shows you that people want to win. They want that validation of their exercise and of their support, so they can talk to the people and say, "Oh yeah, I voted for that guy," and that it was heartbreaking in a lot of ways. So,
which that brings me to the obvious the debate that you hear it ever so often. It's not that prevalent in media, but it comes up. The electoral college.
Oh shit! Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, now personally,
it's obviously flawed and needs to be.
Yes. Okay. Yes, it's flawed, but it
was designed by old people that they don't.
No.
Parents just don't understand.
I do understand. I can understand electoral college though. I can understand. I understand the electoral college because I know the founding fathers. It's because they don't believe. Look, founding fathers didn't believe in sheep mentality. So the idea of the popular vote is kind of skewed. So true, it kind of gives too much power to the metropolises.
Yep.
Right, because you want to have sort of equal power amongst the areas, the farmers, the people that actually do the work, or things like that, weird things. You don't want to give it power to people that aren't seeing how things are produced, stuff like that. However, on the flip side of that, someone made a pretty good argument that
if they want to win, they need to just move all the people that are really in love with the Democratic Party out to where the cows are.
It's the sheep mentality, right? So it's not about. I say metropolis because it's they're just going to follow that same idea because they're in that area. Okay. And people are just going to be they're just going to gravitate because they want to fit in. They're going to believe whatever is around them. And the larger cities will produce a larger portion of that mindset.
Yeah, you
exactly understand? Right. Yeah. And so, so I understand.
There's a lot more peer pressure as well.
So I understand giving more power to across the globe into different subsections. But someone did say that I thought about that. Maybe a third party candidate would have a better shot had there not been any electoral college and it was based off solely popular vote.
You think?
But
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's something you have to take into account, though, that maybe if we're starting from square zero, or square one, then maybe that would hold sway. But I think at the point we're at now, if we eliminated the electoral college, I think you would just see a shit show of the elitist coastal cities taking over, and that you'd have that one progressive mindset completely dominating social discourse and political discourse because they already have the entertainment, they already have the media. Now they've got the votes and the bloating blocks in the cities. And like you said, it is that sheep mindset, it is that fitting in, and social media is only making it worse and worse.
It leaves so much discourse, though, between everyone because you'd have people from these big cities, states and states away, you know, on the other side of the country, so they're deciding for you. Right. I mean, that's already painful enough with what we have to deal with in D.C. I mean, could you imagine someone else having fucking...
Well, you know, I talked with a lady. She was rather not that bright, but I talked with a lady from the Green Party.
I told you, you're an idiot. Shut up about politics.
Stop telling me about the Electoral College.
No, but I talked to a lady from the Green Party, and there you go. And she's upset about how I guess they're not allowed on the ballot and things like that, and not an Electoral College isn't allowed to vote for them.
Well, the ballot access issue is a very big issue.
Yeah, that I agreed.
So that does need some sort of reform.
Yeah. I don't conflate the ballot issue with the Electoral College issue just because ballot access is insanely ridiculous and it is fucking completely monopolized by the two biggest.
So
parties.
It doesn't affect each other. So.
Well, it would in the area that, I agree the Electoral College can't vote for that particular candidate because they don't have ballot access. So I guess in that way it's related, but at the same time, you know, if you had somebody in the Electoral College vote for a candidate that got 3% of the vote, there would be they would never do that because it would be political suicide.
Right.
So either way, they wouldn't go for it. But I do agree, you know, ballot access is ridiculous. Debate access is fucking ridiculous. You know, these are two topics which it's just, you know, it's basically kind of how the Federal Reserve works, where people don't understand that these debates are run by the Democrats and the Republicans. And
you just said the left runs the media. So of course you're not being, because they know if there's any slightly a different view set, like somewhere in the middle, that the Democrats just won't win no more.
Yeah. That's what both sides say, though. It's like voting libertarian. There's one thing for sure: you're guaranteeing a Democratic victory and a Republican victory.
You're right. Yeah, you're taking
both parties losing too. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. They love saying that. It's just such nonsense. It's funny. Every time, like Hillary Clinton especially, they're like, oh, they took away votes. And like, no. If anything, any libertarian, you know, you can't say that they're going to take away votes from a warmonger versus somebody who's I guess, actually, in truth, Trump was, I'd say, far more libertarian candidate. So I guess you could argue in this past election, you could have taken away votes from Hillary Clinton that would have gone to Trump. But if you voted for Gary Johnson, you definitely didn't take away votes from fucking Hillary Clinton because you're more inclined to vote for Trump. So if anything, you took away votes from Trump to vote for Gary Johnson.
Yeah.
No, I know. No, actually, it was Jill Stein that took away votes from Hillary Clinton.
That may be true.
Jill Stein. Yeah, according to what was that, American Horror Story. Jill Stein. American Horror Story.
We're going to go to hard-hitting political analysis.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just in general, the Electoral College, though, you know, people talk about abolishing it. Ridiculous. You know, to run on a platform that is so easy to debunk. If you're, I mean, essentially running on a platform of, let's get rid of the Electoral College, you are appealing solely to states that are already going to vote for you because they're already places that have the big city elite.
It's hot now.
You would automatically lose to every single person in the middle of the country, every single person that's not in the major city center. You've lost them. You know,
but it's being indoctrinated. But you have to. You don't think it might be getting indoctrinated into like the younger generation? Like
what? It may be.
Yes, I'm telling you.
I mean, yeah,
you're starting to hear it more and more from younger. Like just like a few years younger than us, we're starting to hear it more and more from actual people. Like actual
step up and protect any part of the government, though.
Yeah. Well. By the way, the funny thing is too. You know, you look at France, right? And France has a sheer straight democracy, which of course led to why it's so fucked up and why they're having righteous riots that are being painted as white nationalist rallies, despite the fact that
are they really? They're painting them as white.
The media is going out of its way to paint that as a bunch of racists. I just saw a recent article. I think it was a guy, you know, some British.
France is fucking racist, man.
Dude, and they're apparently all the
they're all trans,
whatever the fuck they're called.
Against the Brexit people.
Oh, they're racist.
Yeah. The Brexit people are racist too, because it can never be over a tax issue or over a liberties issue. And Brexit.
It's amazing how many fucking racists are in the world, dude. Like it's like almost everyone you talk to is a fucking racist in some way or form.
They breed like rabbits. But But yeah, man, they are trying to paint all those people as racism. You know, they said, "Oh, I've never seen so many white people collected in one place." It's like, well, France is fucking 90% white, so you know you're probably gonna see mostly white people anyway. Jag off.
Did you just assume their color?
He is. I'm sorry. Am I attacking the French nation? Hey, man, who knows with the mass immigration thing? That the color of France is probably changing more rapidly than we think.
Oh, you never know, man.
Never know.
We actually just spoke with a French director as well, and
She didn't say anything political.
no, she didn't. I was just.
Oh yeah,
It's somewhat relevant. She was white.
she was white.
But yeah, it was really cool having her talk about her historical piece that she was doing over there.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Brexit,
Well,
man.
it's going to be interesting to see how history paints these marches that they're having, because as we know, it's the way that it gets reported, the way that it gets documented can be very different from the way that it actually happened.
You know what's great? Yeah, he brought up that last interview, but I'm going to bring up the fact that we interviewed a guy named we interview a lot of filmmakers and stuff like that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the filmmakers, so they're all kind of left leaning, and one of the filmmakers was so like vote to reverse Brexit. Vote to reverse.
How can you reverse something that still is up for debate?
I don't know.
First question.
That's what he was posting.
Reverse the mindset.
Reverse. Stop Brexit or whatever.
What's funny is so many people are getting, you got the leftists saying reverse Brexit, and then you've got all these other countries throughout Europe which are now bringing up their own referendums. There's Frexit, France is talking about. There's Italy seems to be hell bent on leaving the EU, because you've got just the sole purpose of, or the sole point being, you've got a massive regulatory body which is levying laws on your country in which you have no elected representatives. These are bureaucrats making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to basically jerk themselves off at the EU. And you've got, it's, of course people are going to get pissed off. Of course you're going to have a population that wants to have more of a say, but never put that on the table though. So of course these people want to leave.
They're trying to fucking ban memes. Like there's no quicker way to get every young generation against you than by sitting there saying like, oh, y'all can't fucking make memes anymore.
Well, I know what we have to do as libertarians. We need to do a covert operation to get the leftists in this country to start banning memes, and that's how we'll take it on.
Now, obviously, our country is in the gutter and it's slowly declining. What country would you love for us to be like? Sweden? Or,
no, you nailed it. Actually, not even Sweden. I would prefer to be more like Norway or even Denmark, which are actually more free market than even Sweden. And now I don't like the welfare state they've got in place, but Sweden at least does have privatization of medical care, privatization of pensions, privatization of school systems. Actually, medical care I think might be public, but I know school and I know pensions are privatized. So they've got a lot of good shit going for them. They still have way too high taxation, but if we're talking about free market, if we're talking about low regulations, if we're talking about more personal freedoms, then yeah, man, we could be a lot more like them. So I wouldn't mind cherry picking some of that shit.
Yeah. And then they have a horde underground crime syndicate going on in Sweden.
In Sweden?
Yeah, well, plus they've got the rape gangs going around there, so that's a big drawback.
They're having a lot of I don't know.
That's all self-inflicted, that's all self-inflicted shit by having mass immigrations. And immigration is such a sensitive topic for libertarians because the welfare state, it becomes difficult where we'd say, in a perfect world, you have open borders, people can move freely. But when you've got these welfare states in place, you have a fucking problem. And when you've got massive amount of people coming in that are like culture changers, bringing in, not having it happen organically, but having it happen by forcing a population segment into a culture that's wholly unprepared, that has not been, that has not had a specific desire to come there, that has no urge to acculturate or learn the language or become, every culture's got its own thing going for it. We talk about liberty, man. You need to have an evolution of society to the point where liberty is possible. We couldn't have a libertarian society necessarily 200 years ago because culturally we hadn't evolved to the point where personal liberty was prioritized, where you don't have to literally go out and kill your food or kill someone else to get your fucking food. Now we have that, so we're enabled to have liberty. And these people coming from these other cultures are not coming from cultures that are ready to embrace liberty and are ready to embrace the free market in the way that these other countries have. So of course you're gonna have fucking problems.
That's an interesting way of looking at it, man.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like I'm one of those libertarians that I'm completely pro immigration. But I have a couple of friends from Sweden that I talk to. We game together. So like we'll be talking about that, and he'll mention these things. Like he's mentioned immigration from Sweden, and he's saying, man, these people they moved into my city. My entire city is now essentially immigrants. Yeah. And he's like, somebody down the road was just fucking murdered. Like they just murdered someone down the road, and that guy's going to
gunfire all night. They said gunfire all night. They took over the police station.
Well, that was a different story. This story I'm just saying is like he was just talking about something that happened down the street. Guy got murdered, and the guy that murdered the man is only going to be in jail for fucking 10 years because of Sweden's laws. And their jails are like fucking hotels. They have like Xbox and shit in their fucking prisons.
Damn, not bad. Especially considering a lot of these people that come into the cities. You know, I know in France there were riots from immigrants that came in because they couldn't find work. So yeah, go kill somebody, spend 10 years in prison. You know, come on out, live the good life.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like nobody can talk about it, and these stories are literally suppressed by the media because they don't want you to talk about them because it's the leftists that run the media. And if you dare bring it up, you're called a racist. But it's like, look, you know, talking about facts, talking about cultural interaction is not racist. It's the same assholes that talk about cultural appropriation as though it's a bad thing. No, it's the best thing. It's the way in which trade happens, the way in which cultures grow and societies learn from each other. Cultural appropriation is the greatest thing to ever happen between societies. And that is the issue, is that when you have these kind of mass migrations and mass, you know, forced refugees coming in, this type of shit happening, you do not have the appropriation of the culture in which they're being merged with. And it's just like dropping a bomb of a different culture in the middle of a city. And so it's going to have the fallout you'd expect.
So are you part of the build the wall with the El Gapo money?
No, I'm not. I'm still not for building the wall. I mean, in truth, I don't know what my solution would be. I do know what my solution would be. My solution would be
it really is.
No,
as libertarians, it's really easy to fucking comment on everything. But I mean, that's my point. Is it's like, dude, I want people to talk about.
I wish I could pull that article
because
up.
I want good solutions to fucking come out of it. Yeah, we're gonna fight for a long ass time before we figure out what to do. But once we figure it out, hey, it might be better in the long run than what the bullshit that they're just trying to propose immediately. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. This farmer lives on the border or something, and he had to call Border Patrol because someone came over and started fucking his cow. He was fucking his. They had to like deport him from.
Immigrant. You know what he was trying to do, man? He was trying to fuck that cow. That cow gives birth to some human hybrid cow baby. Now he's got an anchor baby. He can stay in the country. That's
exactly. He's a fucking. He came over and fucking the dude's animals. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being a farmer and you're walking out and someone's fucking your animals?
And then he could get PETA on his side.
Like yeah, there you go. That's a powerful lobby.
Organizations right there.
It's a powerful lobby.
Yeah.
But I will say, man, you know, talking about solutions for immigration, I think like Gary Johnson, he had a lot of fuck ups, but he had one thing right, and that was how to handle immigration, and that was just opening up the visa system, giving people work visas where they can go back and forth across the border. That'll eliminate a shitload of illegal immigration because you'll have people coming here working seasonally or with the ability to come over, farm, go back across, go back to their families, which they would all prefer. And you wouldn't have so much just illegal immigration.
Oh, we have that now?
Well, we kind of do, but he means having it more of a permanent system and having it more readily available. Because a lot of people have a lot of red tape and shit like that right now.
Yeah, trying to get a visa to actually do that, a worker's visa, is almost impossible. It's like, if you want one, you do a security check. Unless you're a murderer, give it to them. Here you go. Have it take fucking a week. You know, make it easy, because when people need to staff up and hire up for a season, maybe they need to have a crop that's urgent. Make that easy for people to come across, get the work, get their money, then they can go back home and not have to worry about, am I ever going to be let back into this country?
But that brings in a good point too. How would you approach these workers? How would their rights work in America?
You are not a citizen. You have no access to any of the welfare, any of the support services. Your children are not eligible to go to school here while you're in America. That's reserved for citizens. And that's a line that needs to be delineated much more cleanly, because that's just, you know, we talk about I'm massively opposed to the welfare state. If they want to have private institutions that provide maybe, nonprofit schools that are here for immigrant children, God bless you, man. Open that shit up, run it, do what you want to do, but you should not have access to what citizens' taxes pay for. I don't think you necessarily should have access to any of that. Now, you could argue that, okay, you're coming in, you're being taxed for the labor you're putting in. So maybe then you could argue that, all right, if we're going to have some child center for whatever while you're here working. But even that, I'd say it's too much.
I would say that you got the opportunity, and that should probably be what that should go to. Like the fact that you were able to come over here and work should your taxes should go to that.
Precisely.
I actually want to talk a little bit more about that. The whole how do they get on welfare? Because a lot of that's a big debate about whether or not that I guess illegal immigrants can even get on welfare. I'm under the impression that
you're right, because a lot of people argue, they're like, look, man, you can't have what do they say, the immigrants that's in the box and outside of the box at the same time, where you where they have these benefits, but they don't get any benefits at the same time.
I would say welfare is not so much when I talk about the welfare state.
Schrodinger is immigrant. That's what they said.
We're not talking about like welfare payments, but they're still taking advantage of free education, medical services. You go to the emergency room, they're still getting medical care.
Well, how are they getting all this stuff? They just sign them up.
You can go to the emergency room. You don't have to have shit. They have.
No, I mean like schooling and all that.
Yeah, schooling. You have to. In truth, not being an illegal immigrant, I don't know how exactly it works when you register your kid to go to school, but we see it happening.
That's all
there are, you've got illegal immigrants and their children going to school here prevalent.
Maybe that's why all the dead people vote. You ever think that, we always see dead people voting. You think that maybe like someone's like selling or giving away.
What the fuck? I'm sorry. Did you say you always see dead people voting?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
do. You do.
Well, you could get forged documents. I think people overestimate how easy it is to get a fake driver's license or fake documentation.
No. I'm just saying, like, y'all physically see dead people voting.
You used to always see in the 80s people printing out fucking IDs for people all the time. They were just
the Democrats are trying to get rid of having to even check IDs at voter registration stations, which tells you where their mindset is as far as allowing illegal image to vote in elections.
So Adam, you've seen someone get up from a fucking graveyard and go in November.
But names and dates and people that are dead already voting.
Okay.
I thought Bernie Sanders was dead last time he ran, but here we're in the same goddamn suit he was buried in.
Bernie.
Hey, gentlemen, by the way, I gotta wrap it up soon. So let's do one more topic of discussion. Then I got a boogie oogie.
What's your thoughts on all the candidates running right now? Trying to run against Trump, from Beto. Fuck them all. Fuck them all.
Fuck every one of them. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know, dude. I don't know what to think about him because all their platforms are still so amorphous at this point. Kamala Harris is a fucking cop. Cory Booker is Spartacus horseshit. I like some of what he has to do with drug reform and the First Step Act, but otherwise, they're all the supporters of the New Green Deal. So fuck every goddamn one of them. Bill Weld is an opportunist asshole, so he can suck a dick. Donald Trump, we'll see what happens over the next year. If he actually pulls us out of these foreign wars, great. If he continues deregulation, great. There's still a lot of shit I don't like about him, but I will say, from my point of view, this is a very controversial point of view, but from my point of view, I think Donald Trump is still, despite all the shit he's done that I hate, the most libertarian president of my personal lifetime. So I'm not saying I'm going to vote for him, but if I'm going to root for a side and there's not a libertarian, I'm still praying Amash Paul is a fucking ticket in 2020, which I believe will win, and I'll support that with every fiber of my being. But if we trot out some goddamn turd, then if I'm going to root for a side, I'm going to still root for Trump.
Yeah, man. So real quick, where do you see electric liberty land in a year from now?
I don't know. I'll probably be dead. So.
What? I'll be dead.
No, I don't know, man. I'm hoping it continues to grow as it is. I'm doing that show. I've got, I released one episode of Do Nothing Man, my libertarian superhero, who, the concept behind it is simply that from a libertarian perspective, the best thing you can do in 99% of the circumstances is to simply do nothing, leave people fuck alone. Leave countries alone, leave businesses alone, leave everybody alone. So I'm hoping that between that, slowly rolling out those shows, which are going for our Patreon supporters until I build enough bit of backlog to roll it out, I'm hoping those two kind of combine to make that show evolve to the point where it's attracting more than just a hardcore libertarian audience and kind of have a broader appeal where people are won over a little bit to come listen to it, enjoy the comedy, and hopefully, start to have some cracks in the armor for the left and the right alike. So,
hell yeah, man. Well, man, like I was saying at the beginning of the show, you're one of the reasons why I got into podcasting in general. We really appreciate you coming on the show. I hope that in the future, maybe we could have you on again sometime.
Yeah, man. I'd be happy to. And thank you for having me on. Thank you. I'm very appreciative that I was an influence because, I don't know if you listened to the 100th episode I did, but I talked about the need for libertarian heroes. And I specifically said that people like you guys need to be, we need content creators. We need people that are out there that aren't afraid to talk and aren't afraid to discuss these issues and be public about it. And, we're in the medium that's growing exponentially. So good on you, Keep it up, dude.
Thanks, man.
We'll do, man. For sure. All right. Well, I guess enjoy your
Well, do you have anything to plug before you go?
Shit.
Or?
Yeah, man. Closing.
What are you doing?
I'm like, yeah,
sure.
Yeah, already know. So yeah, go ahead. Fucking lay it out.
Lions of Liberty podcast. We are the only I'd say maybe now there's other people adopting our format, but we're the original variety show, 3 days a week. Monday, Mark Claire doing in-depth interviews. We got me on Wednesdays at Electric Liberty Land, culture comedy and political commentary. And then John Odermatt, highly recommend people listen to his show, Felony Friday, which is just heart-wrenching. It'll make you angry. It'll make you fucking cry. It'll make you laugh. But it's true stories from people that have just been burned by the goddamn justice system, man. So listen to that. And otherwise, man, support our podcast if you can. Patreon.com/Lions of Liberty. And we are going to be at PorkFest, too. I don't know if you guys are going to be hitting PorkFest this year in New Hampshire, but...
Oh, shit. That would be awesome.
Wait, what is it? Wait, what is it?
Okay, PorkFest is...
No, Jewish.
Don't worry. There's only one day I had pork there, and there's many options.
Okay. No, it's a get-together that libertarians do in New
Hampshire.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a blast, man. Roger Paxson from the Lava Flow puts it on in conjunction with the Free State. And man, the time is just the Free State Project. It's a big gathering at a campsite. There's libertarian speeches. There's podcasters like us doing shows. We're doing a beer pong tournament at the show. We're at the event this year.
Dude, we would dominate that shit.
I'm not good at beer pong.
I'm really good at beer pong.
I will fucking fuck your ass with beer pong. So I invite you to come out and get dominated by me and Rico.
I was going to say,
well, then I can join the hashtag #MeToo movement.
They were in the fraternity, so there's no telling, man. They make us fucking stand upside down.
Right.
Well, man, pong balls in our butts.
Thank you so much for being on. We hope to have you again sometime. Thanks.
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you guys, and live long and live free, as we say on Lines of Liberty.
Okay, man. Goodbye.
All right, peace out.
Oh, we just got done interviewing Brian McWilliams.
It was a pretty good interview. We talked about a lot of potential vegan feed and other things of that nature.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun talking with him about all sorts of things freedom-based.
Honestly, it was really good to have a conversation with someone that I've kind of idolized over the past, and just to get to touch bases with them on a personal level and just have a conversation. It was really fun. I feel like, that's pretty much what we did. We just had a good conversation here. I hope we can do it in the future again.
What other libertarian candidates and people are you looking forward to interviewing?
Some of the people that I would actually like to talk to. Now, there's actually another podcaster, Daryl W. Perry. He's like full-blown anarchist. He wants to dissolve the union, dissolve the states, etc. I think that would be fun to talk to.
Yeah.
Like to see we'd have a lot of probably helicopter debates, if you know what those are. It's like libertarian territory disputes that like when you go into full-blown anarchism, like that's kind of where it goes from there. But I don't know. I know that a lot of people don't want to really talk about that kind of stuff. You know what would be really cool?
AOC. 'Cause I've been googling to find a way.
Been fucking shooting AOC a whole bunch of.
I just don't know where to message her through.
I mean, how better to be able to gauge AOC's beliefs than straight from her?
Yeah,
you know,
straight from.
That's honestly not a bad idea. We should probably try and message her sometime. But
I think everybody they just want freedom. Speaking of freedom, I got the most freedom is free eagle on the bottle beer for the beer of the day.
Yeah.
And today's beer of the day is Yuengling's traditional lager. It is made from apparently America's oldest brewery.
Dude, I'm looking that up. I want to make sure.
Original amber beer, brewed in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. It is 4.5% in alcohol by volume. It is an American amber red lager, so it's it's not a craft beer because obviously it's mass produced, but it's not your typical American adjunct.
No, it actually is kind of hard to reach in some places. Like here in Texas, like we had to go to Louisiana to get it. Like it's not something that's readily available. But got the idea because Brian's tried it in the past and promoted it on his podcast, The Lines of Liberty. So we're checking it out as well. Figured that'd be like a good fit.
Here's the crossover section of the episode.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and try this beer.
Let's get some research going here on Yuengling. Because if that's
kind of like
if this is actually America's oldest brewery, then we may want to invest.
What kind of lagers are Heineken's a European adjunct, or no?
I think so. I honestly couldn't tell you.
I haven't had
I know that it's promoted more.
I haven't had a Killian's in a while.
So
I haven't had a Killian's in a while because that Killian's is a red that it's mass produced. And if this is a amber/red, well, no, this is a lager though.
Well, how about this? I actually just what are you trying to sit there and accentuate with it? Because I've recently drank Killian's as well, so
I don't know. I thought maybe it tasted a little bit like Killian's, but no, they're two different beers. This tastes more like Heineken to me, like a Heineken. But I don't know. I don't think I've had that many red lagers.
Yeah,
usually it's red ales.
To best describe this, you do kind of get that mass-produced kind of taste. It's definitely got one of those generic beers to it, but at the end of it, it also does have a kind of sweet and kind of bold flavor at the end. And I really like that. And some of the reds have that. So that is a good way.
It's definitely a light beer at 4.5%, but I think the bottle says 4.4%. This is whatever, what point percent, but it's kind of maybe not.
You can tell that they don't really have any stories or descriptions on the bottle. It is just don't drink this if you're pregnant.
Which is weird. You know what's weird? They have a light version of this.
Really?
I think that one's at 2% in alcohol, at 3%. Something weird.
We try such heavy intensity alcohol beers that normal beers are just what.
I've got another Yuengling for a future episode, and that one's a little higher.
Oh, really?
It's a black and tan, half porter, half ale, half lager.
That actually sounds really good.
Yeah.
But this brings me up to something too. I actually just recently tried, a Dos Equis. They kind of branched out. They did their own amber and
yes. Does this taste like? It's like Dos Equis amber?
Mexican pale ale. I haven't tried the amber yet.
Oh well.
I was just saying that some of those bigger companies, I think they're kind of realizing hey guys, we need to fucking branch out a bit, and I don't think that that's bad.
Well, this is their main beer. This is their flagship, so you can't say they're branching out.
Well, no, but I mean, it's a good starting point. Fucking Amber,
Starting point's the oldest. This is the start.
No, we'll see about that. I'm Googling.
This is the original. This is the beer of America.
Okay, I got it.
Yes, traditional lager.
It's a traditional lager. It says. Did they really?
Okay, it was sitting next to Dos Equis. It's like,
I mean, like it looks.
It's America's Dos Equis. Dos Equis is like. Dos Equis is
I feel like Dos Equis is stronger than this.
Was it?
This is like a little
the 5th of May,
lighter.
Cinco de Mayo. Remember the Alamo, and and Yuengling.
I'll have to. Man, we should have had this ready to go. Like, because if they are America, I don't know. I just feel like I've seen fucking 100 different things that say America's oldest. Like, I don't believe that Yuengling is America's oldest brewery. It might be, but
Was it America's? It is oldest brewery.
it says that it was settled in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. I mean, which that was definitely one of the first places colonized. So
1829.
1829. So here's the deal. If it's the oldest brewery, then why haven't they got the best beer? I'm gonna walk away from the mic.
Because they didn't have anything to go off of. Now we're able to see. Okay, well, this is how you start off. And plus, he was saying that. Who was saying?
It's like America's
other
first
guy
ignorers of feedback.
Yeah. It's like, screw this. What would you?
Everyone else's success is fucking like. This is the nail in Yuengling's coffin.
What would you rate this beer?
I mean, we did have to venture a little ways to pick it up. But I almost want to say it's local. So for a local beer, it's definitely in like, it's up high in all of our local beers. Like I think that it's a really solid, just average beer. Like if you're buying beers for the game or something like that, I think that this would be a really fucking good addition to that party. I really do. Now, if you're, I don't know, trying to impress some of your craft beer friends, no.
No.
But
you know,
you after our conversation with Nick, though, you do have to like sit there and think about it. What is like the crafting process of a beer like this go through, especially if it's something that's been, so tried and true over time. I think that would be something cool to kind of investigate.
What?
The crafting process of these older beers.
Oh, the originals.
Yeah. Because this is traditional. This is the beer that they made in 1829, correct?
Well, I don't know. I think it was discontinued, and a new company brought it back.
Oh, okay. So they claim the name. They essentially bought the rights to the name.
I maybe.
This is like Yuengling's dead shell that they bought.
I think I just read that it was discontinued.
Like, so this beer probably is from like the 1980s or something.
Maybe.
And they just are like, yeah, but
you would
we
think,
own the name Yuengling, so that's the first.
Because you would think if they should be everywhere, but they're only in the East Coast.
Yeah.
Around Pennsylvania, 13
that's
colonies.
Kind of what I was getting to is like, if they've been around so long, you'd think they'd have a fucking much stronger household name.
I think they are one of the oldest breweries. I think they ran down and then they were brought back.
One of the oldest doesn't mean most successful.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That's such a good point. But honestly, yeah, like it's got a fucking eagle on it. It says since 1829, which is what their website's claiming as well. So that's accurate. From Pottsville, Pennsylvania, everything's lining up. I guess they're the oldest brewery. So
Yeah, I give it a good. I give it a 3.
Okay, but you said you think that they went under.
I think they did.
Or whatnot? Because this says on the bottle, I just realized it says family operated. Family operated, American owned. Like, it's actually etched in the glass of the bottle, so. Do you feel like that's like a marketing ploy?
Maybe.
I do.
It's
a good one. It's a good one.
I mean, I don't know. Would you believe Budweiser if they put family owned?
Fucking yeah, dude.
The Anheuser's.
All they gotta do is have girls dancing around in bikinis and
the
it says family owned.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure everybody would fucking believe that.
I'll give us a 3, and that's just my opinion.
3 out of 3 or 3 out of 10?
3 out of 10.
Oh man, that's strong. Okay. No, I'll give it a higher. Like out of 10, I'd say it's like 6 or a 7, just for the uniqueness.
How about a 3 out of 5? That works.
3 out of 5. Well, you don't have to change yours on account of mine. I mean,
no, I mean it's the same. It's just out of 5.
Yeah. I agree. It's about there. I'll give this one time tested. One time tested, I guess, slight approval. It's like the beer that like you can have at the back of the fridge and be like, well, it's there.
Exactly.